Frank Kane's Hardboiled Private Eye novels in beautiful little Dell editions with great Ron Lesser cover art. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and in this installment, we're going to take a look at Frank Kane's hard-boiled crime novels. He was a tough private eye, Johnny Liddell, and he appeared in a lot of Dell books that were published in the 60s. Some of them reprinted and often, usually with different cover art, sometimes McGinnis, other people, but these are the ones with Ron Lesser cover art, and they're stunning, they're beautiful, and he did them, Ron Lesser did them in the McGinnis style, and as a homage to Robert McGinnis, who everybody really likes, but Ron Lesser in his own right is a terrific artist, and we're going to take a look at some of these books now. First book is Hearst Class Mail. It's Dell number 3528, and it's from 1963, paperback original. An expert in his field, Lopez smiled. Violence is not in my line. I am a lover, not a killer. That's just what we want, a lover. It was a billion-dollar setup, and everything depended on Lopez's special talent, getting anything he wanted from any woman. The stakes were too high to let anyone get in the way. One man had already been murdered. Liddell took over where the dead man left off, not knowing that he might be reserving his own slab in the morgue. Robert Lesser cover art. Next book is Johnny Come Lately. Dell First Edition 4243. Ron Lesser cover art, and it's from 1963 also, paperback original. It was just a set-up that bugged Liddell. 2 murders, a blackmail, and a messy scandal. It was a girl he could really go for, and she was mixed up with both murders, the blackmail and especially the scandal. Over 5 million copies of this scorching book, of his scorching books, are in print. Frank Kane is recognized as one of the world's top writers of mystery and suspense. Frank Kane was a hell of a good hard-boiled private eye writer, and Johnny Liddell was his tough guy detective. These books are really cool. They're small reads. They're run around 150, 160 pages. There's no excess verbiage and a lot of padding out in these books. They're right to the point. They're exciting, they're tense, they're brilliant, and they're fun. Final Curtain, Dell number 2522, is from 1964. Again, a paperback original. She was going places. Betty wanted to see her name in lights, and she'd do anything to get there. Betty thought she had it made when a producer came along with big promises. Then he backed out, and Betty swore she'd kill him. So when he was found murdered, it seemed like an open and shut case. Except to Liddell. Betty told him she didn't do it, and beautiful blonde Betty was very, very convincing. Another Ron Lesser cover art. Final Curtain. The Gilt-Edged Frame, Dell 3289. It's from 1964, another paperback original. Never mixed pleasure with murder. She had jet black hair, dark almond eyes, and a very businesslike derringer jabbed against Liddell's ribs. Why the joyride? Liddell asked. You could have blasted me in my room. The girl smiled. Our policy is not to leave too many bodies around. They are sometimes embarrassing to explain. The Gilt-Edged Frame. These are 4 of the Johnny Liddell books by Frank Kane, who was an unremittingly hard-boiled crime writer. This is noir crime at its best. These are fun reads. These are the kind of books that people used to buy at train stations and airports. Read them in the truck or on a plane. Stick them in the back pocket, and they were 160 pages, 150, 160 pages, but it was all intense crime, noir, action and adventure, pulp action. There's always stuff going on in these books, and they're really cool, and they have great, great cover art. They're very collectible today. These were books that you used to be able to pick up all over the place years ago for $1 a piece. They were kind of throwaway books. Now, in really nice condition like these here, you don't really see them that often, and they are quite collectible. They've become, books that go for quite a bit more. Those are the 4 Johnny Lindell, and we have some more. We have Barely Seen, Dell number 0458 from 1964, another first edition. The lady was no amateur. A gorgeous redhead ran up to Johnny Liddell and threw her arms around him. Liddell was delighted, until he realized that in one slick operation she'd lifted his wallet and set him up for murder. When Liddell found her, he had a lot of questions to ask, but the lady wasn't talking. Somebody got there first and shut her up permanently. Well, over 6 million copies of Frank Kane's hard-hitting, fast-moving Johnny Liddell novels have been sold in Dell editions alone. Barely Seen, paperback original, Ron Lesser cover art. 6 million copies at this time in 1964 have been sold of the Johnny Lindell thrillers. Private Eye, Hardboiled Crime, really good stuff. Next book is A Spirit to Corpse, Dell number 2409, 1965. Never Say Die, D-Y-E. There's nothing that redhead's got that I haven't got better, the blonde told Liddell. She pulled the gown off her shoulders and let it fall to the floor, then softly, and anything she can do, I can do better. Johnny put down his glass. I'd hate to leave wondering. Another pulse racer for Johnny Liddell, with nonstop excitement at every curve. A Spirit to Corpse. Another Ron Lesser cover. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. Cool, little, thin books. They don't take up a lot of room, but they do a lot of good reading. Next one, Johnny Lindell by Frank Kane. Dell 8924, Time to Pray, P-R-E-Y. This is a second printing of Dell books in 1966. It wasn't his case, his girl or his problem, but Johnny Liddell had a personal interest in this little caper. He didn't ask to be the Fed's receiver on the pass of inside info on the smuggling racket, but he was. He didn't ask to have a couple of hoods beat the living daylights out of him to get the info back, but they did. As a matter of fact, for the first time in his life, Johnny Liddell wasn't asking for trouble. But when a lovely doll invited him to see her later, and murder turned later into never again, Johnny asked in, into the bloody end. This is a Time to Pray. This is by Lavoti. So the previous 6 books have been by cover art by Ron Lesser. This is by Lavoti. The last book we're going to look at, The Living End, is actually not a Johnny Lindell book. It's an Eddie Marlin book. Eddie is a disc jockey, and he's mixed up in the rackets of graft and payola in the record industry and in the music industry and the radio industry as far as what's being played on the radio. This one's from 1957. Again, a paperback original. Victor Kane did the cover art. Disc jockey. When he broke into the racket, Eddie Marlin was just another kid with a hungry look and built-in shoulders. But even then, Eddie knew you didn't hit pay dirt and walk away from it. You rolled around in it, man. So what if some of it did rub off on you? Why be square? On his way up, Eddie had to step in a few faces. The network people, the song pluggers, the smoke-eyed girl vocalist who'd do anything for a hit record. But it was the kids who really put him up there. The kids who thought Eddie Marlin was real gone, the living end. And what they didn't know wouldn't hurt them or Eddie Marlin. Victor Kane did the cover art on this one. It's a Dell first edition. The back cover's nice. It's got a little blurb about the book, which I just read, and then it shows like some records kind of talk about the disc jockey record industry at that time, 1957. So there you have 7 Johnny Lindell thrillers and 1 Eddie Marlin thriller by Frank Kane. Frank Kane was a terrific hard-boiled crime writer, and these are all great entertaining reading, great fun. And maybe you pick up one of them, try it out. Maybe you have one of them laying around and you haven't gotten to it yet, and you'll give it a try and read, and I think you'll enjoy it. These books pack a punch. They don't waste pages on extra words, 150, 160 pages. These are all 25 cent, some of them 40 cents later on, 45 cents, paperbacks from the 60s that were really cool and fun to read. And people loved them, and they sold like hotcakes. And when you had a time, an era like where Mickey Spillane and other writers like that were selling really well, there were a lot of other people imitating Spillane and imitating that kind of hard-boiled crime and private eye fiction. And Frank Kane is certainly one of them, who was one of the best. So give it a chance, give it a try, and hope you enjoy these books. Hope you enjoyed the look at these books. I'm Gary Levisi, and please, if you like this, give us a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe to the channel. We need subscribers to continue doing this, and hope you enjoy it, and let us know what you think. If you have questions or anything you'd like to see in future videos, let us know. And again, enjoy Frank Kane. He's a good read if you like hard-boiled private eye crime. And until next time, thanks for watching.